Hi, I'm Melanie from Parenting High Schoolers, and I am here again to talk to you about parenting your teen. I hop on every week. I talk about different aspects of parenting teens. So if you're interested in learning more, subscribe to my channel below. Here we go. We're going to talk about extracurriculars this week. This is in my book. It's conversation number 8. And this is a fun one. Extracurriculars are what make high school and middle school and high school and college so much fun. But we're going to focus on the high school part of it today. Clubs, sports, activities, all of those things fall under the umbrella of the word extracurricular. So it's extra on top of the curricular activity of school. So research shows that the more our kids are involved in all these extra things, the more focused they are, and it actually indicates future success. The other thing that it also indicates, they're more likely to stay in high school. If they are involved, if they know people, this is such a connection for them to make. It breaks a giant or rather large or even a small high school into smaller sections, and it becomes a group that they become familiar with. It's like people, which is a really great thing for kids to find at that age. No matter what your child's plans are after high school, they are going to need a well-rounded resume, whether it is college, getting a real job, military, any option that they have, even a gap year program. A lot of these programs will ask for a resume. So your child needs to be thinking, like when they start high school, talk to them, like look at the list of clubs. I know at my son's high school, there are so many clubs. And I know that at the beginning of each year for the freshmen and even upperclassmen that maybe are wanting to look at something different, they'll have like a club day where they'll introduce the clubs and what they're all about and who's in them and that kind of thing. So that is definitely something to be talking about. It is a piece of high school that is so important. So our kids need to get involved. It will make their high school. That's the fun part that you look back on and you remember the football games and you remember the club meetings or whatever was going on. And I know for myself, I was probably more involved than I should have been, but it was what made school so much fun. This can involve activities at school. It can involve activities at their church and just in the community. So it's not just school activities. It's anything that they can be participating in at that age. Well, if this is helpful to you, if you are learning something that you think will be helpful to you or a friend, please subscribe to my channel. Okay, so the 3 things that bosses and colleges and military, anybody is looking for are participation, meaning did you go to the meetings? Were you in it for what? And the next one is stick-to-itiveness. So were you in this club for more than a year? Now, sometimes your child is going to join a club and it's just not where it's at. Have them go ahead and, mostly participate that year, but find something to replace it with the next year because they're really looking for kids to be in activities for 2 or more years to show that they are dedicated or that they enjoyed this is something they were going to stick with. And then finally, the leadership piece of it. And that doesn't mean like as they become juniors and seniors and they've been in the same club for that amount of time, it does not mean they have to be an officer in that club. It means that they showed leadership. Maybe they led an activity. Maybe they're not a class officer or a student council officer, but they organized a blood drive or they organized the fundraiser for the sophomore class or whatever it is. So those are the 3 things: participation, stick-to-itiveness, and leadership, because those all show future success. Those are indicators. Okay, so let's back up. Leadership is not just an officer, like I said. It could be that you took part, you led the way, or your teen led the way in some focused activity, blood drive. They were the committee chair for the float that year for homecoming parade, whatever it is. They need to try new things. Like even if your teen is in something for only 1 year, they tried it. My son they started a club his senior year, so he only had a choice of being in it 1 year, a goat club. So they went and visited goats and they watched a movie about goats and they ate goat food and it was fun and it was different and it was something he enjoyed. So that was something he could put on his resume. Play an instrument, get published, volunteer. These are all things that could be an interest of your child. So help them them, figure out what it is that they would like to do. And they also need to be ready to discuss the things that all of these things that they've done, that they've put on their resume when they are going for college interviews or a job interview or whatever the case may be. They may be asked, so what was interesting to you about X club? And your child needs to be ready to say, well, this is what I really liked about it. Here's something I learned. I figured out this about myself from this club. Be able to have a conversation. Keep track of everything. I have a high school survival kit for parents, which is a great way for you to help your child start to get organized, and then hopefully, well, the goal is that they would take it over. But keep track of their hours that they participated in different things, certificates of participation, signed by someone in authority, any awards, emails that they may have gotten, contact information, so coaches' phone numbers and email, because somebody may want to confirm some information. And your child or you may not remember, like, oh, how many games did we have that year or whatever. So the best time to start keeping track of all of this is right when they start high school. In my survival kit, there are lists of ways to keep track of all of this. You really want to have great paperwork. You want to have great organization skills, because when it gets to be the senior year and you're trying to remember everything, neither you or your student is going to remember it all. So be sure from the beginning, or at least as soon as you've seen this video, to start taking notes on everything that they are participating in. Again, if you found this helpful, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next week. Thanks.